Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cask Talk. I'm Paul, beer drinker and enthusiast, and this is Dave, certified beer judge and homebrewer. And this evening we are doing another Four Peaks beer. Go ahead. It is called the Kuhl Beans. It is a vanilla coffee porter. Personally, I've had this one. I wasn't particularly sold on it, but I'm going to give it another go. I think Dave here will absolutely freaking love it. So,
yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't think we've done a porter yet, have we?
No, we haven't done a porter. And I know you really like the coffee stuff. So
yeah, so I like coffee stuff. I like porters. I like vanilla is one of my more favorite flavors. So this, I think, is going to be hitting like right in that realm.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about it.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and browns, I'm also a big fan of brown beers, not mainly from the color, but usually from the fact that they do have a lot of malty sweetness to it, you know, some cool heads on it. We'll see how this one turns out.
Yeah, and this is a 15 IBU, so it's probably one of the lowest on the bittering units that we've done so far.
Yeah.
And it also is an 8.2 APV, so
high on the alcohol, which if you see a trend here, that's typically it right there, right? High ABV.
Yeah.
Has been something that we have kind of leaned towards quite a bit. And also a local brewery for us.
Yeah.
So Four Peaks, Paul and I both remember kind of growing up in the valley here, getting an opportunity when it was just a small operation.
Yeah, like they had like 4 beers.
Yeah, small operation, 4 beers. Little place in Tempe to stop in at. One of the first
didn't even have an adequate parking lot.
Yeah. And then you started seeing them kind of popping up around where you could, you know, show it up in bars and other places, and they kind of spread their wings. I think they're owned by a big corporate conglomerate. Did Anheuser buy them? Or?
I don't think Anheuser bought them. I think they partnered with Anheuser for doing the distribution in other markets.
It could be. Yeah.
So I'm not real sure. The website wasn't real clear on that one. They just said that they're working with Anheuser-Busch now.
We've yet to do one of my more favorite of their beers, which is a Scottish ale.
The Kilt Lifter.
So I'm excited when we have the opportunity, when we get to a chance to do that.
That'll be when you're buying the beer, though.
Yeah, I'll pick up those. That's fine. Though, but they do have a great selection of beers that we enjoy.
Yep. And now, because it's a porter, you know, it's going to be a heavier beer, darker. They use a Madagascar vanilla bean, and they do a Monsoon's Malabar coffee bean, which I guess means that they let the coffee beans get exposed to the monsoons here in Phoenix before they use them to flavor the beer.
Yeah, and if you don't have monsoons where you're from, I know that a lot of places out southwest here will have monsoon type experiences, and you'll see it also on the islands. But essentially, it's going to be like a time of year where traditionally your humidity will change because of a flow difference of the wind, where the wind's coming in, and we're in the desert. So obviously here
we
it's
go from dry to literally 100 degrees and raining.
Yeah, so
the next 2 days are like swimming through the air.
Yeah, and because of the flow of the wind changing, it kind of goes to a direction where it's not cutting as quickly over mountains and it comes up through the Gulf. That essentially what it'll end up doing is it brings in so much humidity, our humidity levels go up and our temperatures come down. So when you hear the 120s, that's typically before the monsoon season, and then the monsoons would bring it down.
When we have years like in 2020 where we didn't have a monsoon, that's when we have, 45 plus days of temperatures over 120. So we really count on those monsoons later in the summer to actually break the heat. I don't have a better way to describe it. It makes things a lot more tolerable. I mean, I know people complain about humidity, but here in Phoenix, it's like a godsend because it does bring the temperature down a good 10 to 15 degrees. Without further ado, though, and dragging it on for y'all, we'll get this poured.
All right. So I'm excited to see the color on it and the head retention. And with the vanilla, I'm interested to see if I'm going to be able to smell the vanilla.
Oh, you'll taste it. It's there. The coffee.
Curious, I'm going to taste the coffee.
Yeah,
All
you can
right.
smell a little bit of the vanilla.
So right off the bat, what I'm seeing is a pretty decent head. Not super moosey, but it does have some nice tight bubbles on it.
It looks a lot like a stout.
I'm going to see that it probably will get a chance to cling at some point and create some lacing.
Well, maybe when the beer warms up.
Dark though. It's really, really dark.
Yeah, honestly,
Really
the
dark.
first time I had this, I thought it was a stout because of that.
Yeah.
But it's got a real nice aroma. It's got a good beer smell to it. Hint of vanilla. Not really picking up the coffee.
Yeah, hint of vanilla. It's not really tremendous, but porters typically will have a little bit of a subdued characteristic. A lot of times with the stouts, you're going to have a lot more, real intense flavors, real intense smells.
Very forward.
So it's not surprising.
It's nice.
I've done a few vanilla beers. It's kind of hard to get huge vanilla aroma.
And there's the coffee.
The vanilla hits me and the coffee.
The aftertaste is where I get more of the vanilla, actually.
Well, that's quite good.
Yeah, I told you were going to like it.
I like that. And if you're a stout drinker,
this would definitely go down down smooth because it's lighter. It's not as heavy. It's not as thick. Mm-hmm. And if you're used to drinking like Guinness or something like that, you switch to this. You'll definitely enjoy it, in my opinion. But you're gonna want to kind of take it a little easier because Guinness is only like a 6, I think.
Yeah, my family's a big stout drinkers, and I think this is a lot more enjoyable. There's a lot more flavor characteristics in it.
Yeah. It's thinner, so it's not got that real thick, heavy mouthfeel to it. Goes down really easy.
It's not overly bitter, which is one of the things.
Almost no bitter in this.
Yeah, which is actually I'm a big fan of. I want to lean more towards the sweetness and maltiness. But it has some malt flavors to it. They accentuate well with the coffee. Almost a little bit of like a chocolatey note to it.
To me, a lot of the coffee beers taste like burnt coffee. This one tastes more just like regular straight out coffee. Wow, that is really coming in red there from that light. But this is more of a straight coffee flavor than like a burnt aftertaste. Like you drink the Arrogant Bastard Ale, it's got a really strong burnt coffee flavor to it. A lot of the stouts have kind of a strong burnt coffee flavor to them, to me anyway. Yeah. And I don't care much for that at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, and I think when you kind of overdo it in the wrong spot, when it actually tastes burnt, that's kind of going too far in the wrong direction. Having a little bit of that burnt character can be complementary to, some characteristics of beer, but this, I think they've done a great job with this. Really well balanced.
Four Peaks normally delivers an excellent product. I haven't tasted anything that they've delivered that I wouldn't say was a good product. Whether I liked it or not, I would still say it's a good product.
They're not just pushing you onto some sort of concept. And that's one thing that a big pet peeve of mine in beers. If you're going to market something to be something that may interest me, provide...
Dog's going nuts over here.
Dog is acting up a little bit, looking for attention.
Acting up a lot.
But, if you're going to go above and beyond to be able to say, hey, buy this beer because of vanilla and coffee and you like both of those, so buy it anyways. For me, like you buy enough used cars and then you're like, wow, it's just going to be another used car.
Yeah.
This kind of delivers a little bit. I mean, I wish it had a little bit more of a punch on the smell. But honestly, from a great drinking beer, really good drinking.
To be honest, I think that they could have gone further in some levels, but they wanted to bring it back some so that it had mass appeal. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all because I think sometimes that's necessary. Business has got to make money, what have you. But they dialed some of it back. And I'm kind of glad they did because the coffee to me, I'm not a coffee drinker at all. The coffee to me would be just overwhelming if it was turned up anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's at a nice level. So it's really well balanced with what this is. And it's a fairly high alcohol beer. I wouldn't know it. You know, I mean, I would assume that it's more than your typical light lager. But outside of that, I mean, this is like an 8.2% beer. And yeah, I mean, if I was drinking it in like another 5.5 or 6% beer, I probably wouldn't even notice it until I realized that I was actually maybe drinking too much alcohol. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and rate this stuff here, Dave. What are you going to give the presentation?
I'm going to take a little bit off on this presentation. Now, there's some things I really like about it.
The head could be better.
The head could be better. I really like it when it has a little bit more of a kind of a moosey kind of head on it. And it really kind of didn't. Dissipated, but it stays on there pretty good. I'm not always a super fan of the brown beers. This one's not too bad, though. It does have some kind of nice little red hints through it. So typical porter, like a dark porter. It's obviously an imperial porter, so it's higher on the alcohol. I wish it had more smell. So I'm going to take off a little bit on mine. I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm probably honestly going to be about a 6.5. I think if the head were a little bit better and the smell were a hair stronger, I'd probably go higher, but
as it warms up, though, it is picking up a little bit, and there's also a little bit more room to kind of capture some of that smell.
Yeah. It's a problem with some of these beers.
But I'm picking up more of the malt.
Drink them fresh out of the fridge, you lose something. Drink them too warm, you lose something.
Smell a little bit more of the maltiness from it.
Oh, yeah, that's very much there.
Overall impression, kind of jump ahead a little bit. You know, I'm going to probably put it out at like an 8.
For overall impression?
Yeah, overall impression, because I think it's really good. I think that I would recommend it if I saw it. I was there. I could see it as a second or third beer, you know, depending on what sort of options that I have, that I would choose on a regular basis.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go ahead and put the overall impression at 7.5. And as far as the taste is concerned, I'm going to put that at a 7.5 too. Because I think it's got good flavors, just a little mild, but not necessarily a bad thing. Because to be honest with you, it's not my cup of tea with the coffee in it.
Yes, I'm a big coffee drinker. I drink coffee almost all day. So almost, if you're my cardiologist, more than I should. But I'm going to probably go 8.5 on the taste.
Really?
I'm a big fan. So
I told you you'd like it. I knew it.
Yeah, so it really kind of hits a lot of the flavor profiles that I'm looking for. Something that's going to be sweet, but not overly sweet. It's not cloying in any way. It's got a good balance to it, but it's not overly bitter. It's got some good malt characteristics. I like the coffee, but it's not overly coffee. Like you said, it's nice subdued level to it. The vanilla's there, but it's not overwhelming. It's not like you're sucking on a vanilla bean.
Yeah.
So, and I like vanilla. So they could, I think, up the vanilla to it. And I probably would still be giving it some positive rates on it.
I think it's got a pretty pleasant aftertaste to it myself. In fact, this is one of those beers that I wouldn't drink because of the way it initially hits, but it does have a really pleasant aftertaste. And as far as personal preference, I'm probably going to honestly put this one down at about a 4. We're going to go 4.5. There are a lot of beers I'd rather drink, but to be honest, this is not a beer I would choose to drink. I would recommend it to other people. Like I said, I told Dave you'd really like it. I'm not wrong, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I'm going to put mine up probably a little bit higher because I think this beer is a little bit more towards my flavor profile. I'm giving it a 7. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
I would order it again if I saw it lined up, especially after trying it. And I would recommend anyone who's a go-to stout drinker.
Yeah,
you got to give that a try because this beer does give you an amazing alternative without, but still kind of being that darker beer, that nice fuller bodied, but not overly bitter. Some of the stouts can get a little bit overly bitter.
Yeah.
From some of the malt.
And they can get too heavy too, I think.
Yeah.
This one is not that heavy.
Yeah, they do a really good job balancing this. It's enjoyable. I think that I feel very comfortable recommending it to someone. in a bar knowing that they would enjoy it.
Yeah, no, this is quality product.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, please like, share, subscribe, comment, give us suggestions for any beers you want to do.
Yeah, and go out there, give this a shot. Let us know what you think of it. I'd love to hear some of your opinions in regards to how you thought our ratings, if you thought they were fair, or your personal preference when it comes to them.
With that being said, cheers.
Salute.